to with Ashley and Edward. I am one of your hosts, Ashley Haynes. I am a student advisor and career coach for our Tech Ladder program, and then I also am the veteran support advisor for the Centric organization.
And hi, my name is Ed Perry, and I am your student advisor for the career track side.
Okay, so why are we here? The purpose of this podcast is to sit down and chat about strategies to help you get through the program. A new topic each week and occasional guest speakers is what you will get. We also are open to taking topic suggestions from you that can be sent via Canvas to either myself or Edward. Really glad to be here with my friend, and I'm so glad that you guys are here as well. Let's go ahead and get started.
So without further ado, what are we talking about this week? This week we'll be discussing the best ways to prepare for your networking courses. Why are we talking about this? The networking courses can come at you in a completely different way than what you have experienced so far during your journey at Centric. So we want to give you some insight and what to expect so it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks. So we're going to go ahead and get this train moving, and Ashley's going to get us rolling.
Okay, here we go. Know that this is new information for everyone in your class. You are not alone in this. Everyone will have confusion and need additional insights into different areas throughout the course. So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Great job. I agree with that. Because furthermore, this is an accelerated program. What is an accelerated program? So some people go the traditional route of college, and with the traditional route of college, you may meet 5 hours a week. Here at Centric, you're going to meet 40 hours a week in one class. So daily content will come fast each day. Instructors' lectures are designed not to give you every piece of information within Cert Master, but to help you with providing content and create connections within the material to best help you understand concepts for your daily work. Additional insights are given to help you focus your studying for the exam as well.
Cool. Great advice. Next tip. So in your networking courses, something that's going to be important to remember is that you're not going to know everything right away. You're not going to start making those connections right away. It's going to take time. So it's going to also require multiple interactions to fully sink in. So our program is designed to slowly introduce these concepts from the Net Plus material in the early classes so that you can build on that once you get to the more difficult concepts actually in the class. It's going to be covered across multiple courses, so don't feel like you need to know everything right away.
That is so true. And on that same line of course thinking, make time to pre-read today's material in Cert Master. This material will be new material, so this will prep your brain to lecture and give you another rep with the material. Prioritize your reading time. Focus on key terms and their definitions. Rewrite these terms as time allows. So sit down with a notebook, you get 15-20 minutes, jot some terms down, throw some definitions behind them. There's your vocabulary right there. So you're seeing it before you learn it.
I'm really glad that you mentioned the idea of pre-reading, and I think, I don't know about you, but like in my experience of being in school, they always wanted you to try and memorize everything when you're reading. Like they wanted immediate recall. And I don't think that's really the intention here with the pre-reading in Cert Master. It's more for you to like glance over and read through so that when you get into class, you can recall that that's something that you read about this morning. So you're able to make those connections a little bit easier. So it's not really like you have to sit there and memorize everything that you read. It's more about just like getting it in front of you from the beginning.
That is so logical, because I remember myself, like when I do practice exams, for example, I used to be like, if I memorize these questions, I'm going to be ready for the test. And then I take the test and it's like, whoa, this is actually different questions. So what your advice is so key for moving forward.
Yeah. Okay, so a question that we get a lot is how much time should I spend studying outside of class? So don't freak out, but the answer is going to be 40 hours. Outside of class, you should be spending 40 hours studying for the exam. So this is not for class. this is recommendation for when you're studying for the exam, how much time. Now, do you have to break it down and make sure that it's right at 40 hours and that's how you're going to be successful? No. Everyone is completely different, but knowing what is a general idea of how much time should I be spending and being able to kind of work through that is going to be different for everybody, but 40 hours is definitely a good amount to where you could successfully pass the exam. For the career track, the Systems and Security Admin program, instructors are recommending that you set your first target to try and take your exam after your Windows Server 3 class. So typically you'll have a self-paced week, and that would be a great time to schedule your exam. And then for our Tech Ladder students, setting a target for 1 to 2 weeks after the end of the program. So Tech Ladder program moves a lot quicker than our career track side, so we're suggesting you wait 1 to 2 weeks until you're done, after you're done.
So a lot of these tips seems to be focused around time management, which is going to be key going forward, because what you've taken on is a true journey and it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's going to take time. So one of the things we like to focus on is setting a learning plan within Cert Master. It's a definite resource to have. So what does that look like? We're looking for you to have at least 85% to 90% of completion of your learning plan progress before you schedule your first exam. Utilize the confidence levels honestly. So these will help you identify the areas that you may need to spend more time in and help you narrow in on specific topics to focus on to be more efficient and effective in your preparation. Use review feedback from practice quizzes, as it will give you the correct answers and the incorrect answers, so therefore you know what to look at. Take notes, highlight within Cert Master platform, then transfer them to your standard digital physical notes.
So on the topic of notes, take notes. It sounds pretty simple, right? Taking notes on what you're hearing is going to be essential. Don't try to rewrite the PowerPoints. I think a lot of times the instructors can give you access to those PowerPoints, so there's no sense in trying to listen to what the instructor is saying, write down your note, and try and write down word for word. We do have strategies for note-taking in your student success courses in Canvas, so I definitely would like to encourage you to go take a look at those. I think most of you even talked about note-taking in your first week of the program, so definitely check out those resources, and then Edward and I are here to help with that. I mean, we've been taking notes for a long time between the two of us, so definitely reach out to us if you're struggling with that.
And to ride with that, taking notes. If your teacher iterates on the topic, if he repeats it more than once, it's probably an important topic, so I'll use it for myself. Like when I was in the classroom and I was teaching history, like one of the things we would talk about oftentimes is the Declaration of Independence. So I would come back to it 3 or 4 times. The Declaration of Independence was signed when? It was done when? So when was the Declaration of Independence done? So I'll say the same thing more than once, maybe even a different way. But if I hit on it more than once, you may want to copy it down.
Yeah. I know we have some instructors that will come out and say, this is what you want to write down. And so that is obviously something you definitely want to write down. On the topic of notes, taking time to go back and look over your notes and even rewrite them if you want to. Notes can be such a difficult thing because we always want to make sure that we try and get everything written down. But that's why you always want to go back and look at them. One, because I don't know what it is. You look at something and you're supposed to you look at it so many times to remember. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but
yeah,
same concept, right? Like when you're re-looking at it, you are making different connections that maybe you made during class or you weren't able to make, and it's forcing you to interact with that material again. It's also going to allow you to identify holes in material that maybe you were missing. So that way in class the next day, you know what types of questions to be asking the instructors. A lot of groups of classes that we've worked with will share their notes in like a OneNote. So that way you can also go back and look at other students' notes as well to see where you're kind of missing information. So definitely want to use that as an option.
I like that. And so one of the biggest things I've struggled with as a student is asking questions. If you don't understand stuff, the teacher is not a mind reader. And that's like the biggest block ever. Because it's like, for me, I've sat in class and I've been like, I don't understand this material. But if I ask a question, I'll slow the whole class down. But what I had to remember was, like you, I made a big investment in my education. So if I'm making a big investment to go and learn something and to grab new material, I have to raise my hands and I have to be like, hey, I don't understand this. Or there's lunch breaks, there's before class, there's after class, there's even mentoring requests. So if you need that extra time, that's what we are here for. Like, we will support you all the way through, but once again, we're not mind readers.
Yeah, I like that. So you can always go to your instructor for help. You can also lean on other classmates. Chances are, if you're up at 11:30, another classmate probably is too. So definitely lean on them, share ideas, share notes, share study strategies. It can help create a sense of community and make you feel like you aren't alone.
I like that. And so one of the things with building a community is you're with a set of students for this 4-month journey. Set up group study sessions. Like, there's so many resources. Like right now, like we can go Zoom, we can go Skype, we can go in person at Starbucks, and even one of the coolest resources is on campus at Centric. There's rooms available, so like if you ever get the hunch to say, hey, I want to go into the building and just take 2 hours, drink some Starbucks with my buddies and sit in the room, I'm available. Like, send me a quick email, I'll get you a room, and if I can't do it, Ashley will. So we have the resources to help you be there. So don't be afraid to reach out and network with each other. Network.
Good one.
Okay, I'm going now.
Okay, cool. All right, so that is the list of our tips. We don't want to overwhelm you with information, but we want to make sure that you have a few things to kind of keep in mind as you go into these classes and work through them. So our next segment is, and something that will be happening every podcast that we have, is called Straight from the Instructor. So what is it? It is essentially where you are getting advice straight from the instructors. This week we have Jawan and Andrew with us. They are both graduates from the Career Track program and are now back teaching for us, which is really cool. They've been in your shoes. They know what you're going through, and so it is important and exciting that they can give you direct information and thoughts on the networking classes. So they're going to share specific advice about the exam and about the course.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew, and I am a coach with Tech Ladder. And today I'm here to give you 4 points to help you pass your Net Plus exam. The first point that I'm going to go over with you is knowing the objectives. So you're going to get an exam objective study sheet with that, and when you get that, it's going to have every section and everything within each section in it. Use that as a point of reference, checking off what you know and what you don't know, so it's easier to focus in on what you need to study for. So go through. If you can say you know that one verbatim, then you know that you can check that off and move on to the next. It helps you with time management on your studying. And also at the end of that, they have acronyms and port numbers at the back end. So you can use that to study for all your acronyms. With that being said, I will say acronyms are important to know. Like, they don't say that you need to, but a lot of the test is word problems. And a lot of times they won't put the whole definition of the acronym in there, and it kind of expects you to kind of know what's going on. And I feel that if you know what the acronym stands for, sometimes it will help you on the test because it will have the word in the answer. So that would be a good way for some easy points out right off the bat. Also, like, knowing your port numbers are real easy points to get when you take the test. Now, to study for the test, I would say there's this thing called brain time, right? And what that is taking a break. So when you're studying, you need to find time in your life where you can just take a break and spend that time to studying, where you're not interfered by work or anything else going on in life, trying to hurry up and add some studying in on that, because that doesn't seem too effective for a lot of people. So when you're doing that, make sure you just have time dedicated to understanding and learning that material, as that will take you so much farther in this whole process. And another point, lastly, that I will have for you is knowing where you stand. So a lot of times students will compare each other with what they know, and they can kind of like throw yourself backwards and not understanding what's going on and feeling like you don't know what's going on because everybody else is getting it before you do. And that's just not the case. A lot of people learn at different rates, at different knowledge paths. A lot of people come in here with prior knowledge, so there is that to realize. So with that being said, do not judge yourself against others. Just judge yourself on where you know and where you were before and where you are now. If you do these 4 steps and don't get overworked up about it, you will be good for this test, and you will have all the knowledge and all the expertise to get past this.
When you're using Cert Master, don't second guess yourself. Just use the practice questions and actually try to learn the material. If you don't know something, just come back to it. Try not to guess while doing practice questions. Usually if you come across a topic that you're not sure of, look it up right then and there in Cert Master or Google. And if you come across a question that's giving you problems, write it down, stop immediately and review it. And that way you can actually keep going once you actually review that information that you are having troubles with. Great tool to use. Frequently use PowerCert. PowerCert's a pretty good graphical tool with animations that actually help you reinforce certain topics. It's a good idea once you actually complete the Net Plus material to research some outside resources like Professor Messer. He's a great viewpoint on these concepts. Actually take a look at his material and you'll actually start to piece things together a little bit more.
We are done.
Already?
Yeah, we are.
Man.
Super fast. Super fast. A lot of information, but hopefully helpful information. We want to make sure that we are getting that to you as quickly and concisely as possible. We don't want to take up your whole day, but there are things that we want to make sure that we talk to you about because they are important in your success in getting through these classes. So to wrap up today, we need your help. We are debating a tagline. We can't decide on what sounds better for our podcast, so we would like to put the 2 options out to you guys and have you vote. So here are the 2 options. The Chat and Chew with Ashley and Edward, where we chat about all things centered around you.
I like that.
So that's number 1.
Okay.
And then number 2, the Chat and Chew with Ashley and Edward, where we sit down and chat about strategies to help you along the way.
That could work too.
I know, they're both so good, we can't decide. So we need your help. There's a link to the poll in the message in where you got this podcast. So definitely click on that. Choose which option you think sounds better. We really appreciate it. Woo, first one.
That was incredible.
I know, right? So thank you guys for joining us. We will be back soon with a new topic.